are going to test out my family's cookie recipe, sugar cookies to be precise. Shout out to my Grandpa William Stratton for providing the recipes and pictures, also to Lila for the recipes. We're going to test two recipes, my great-great-grandmother King's sugar cookie recipe and my great-grandmother Lucille's sugar cookie recipe. Hang out to the end. I'll share the recipes in the descriptions down below. The first recipe we're going to try out is my great-great-grandma King's recipe. She was born in 1878. And the second recipe is my great-grandmother Lucille's recipe, and she was born in 1902. So these are some old cookie recipes. I do have two versions of Grandma Lucille's recipe, but I'm going to go with the version that has some lard in it. In the next video and another video I can make the third recipe and try that one out. That one has 100% Crisco, so for vegetable oil, vegetable shortening. And this hot milk cake recipe looks pretty cool. Maybe we will look at that one as well. Both of these recipes contain buttermilk, but a version of Lucille's states you can substitute sour cream, sour milk for consistency's sake. I'm just going to stick with buttermilk for both of these recipes. So without further ado, let's get into it. The recipe instructions are as follows. Combine sugar and lard and then add eggs, then the soda and buttermilk. Then add the rest and beat. Sprinkle with sugar, 350 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. First, I'm going to cream 210 grams of lard with 400 grams of sugar for 10 minutes. I used a stand mixer. The hand mixer here is just for effect and it's kind of broken. Next, add 170 grams of buttermilk and add 6 grams of baking soda to the creaminess. Now the dry 560 grams of all-purpose flour, 3 grams of salt, and 4 grams of baking powder. Finally, pour in 10 grams of vanilla. Mix the wet with the dry until incorporated. I chilled the dough and scooped them onto a lined baking tray in 1-ounce scoops and baked at 350 degrees for 8 minutes. Oh, okay, this doesn't look right. Yeah, I guess we're going to make a segment of this show called What Went Wrong? I could tell something was wrong while I was watching the cookies bake in the oven because they were spreading out and not rising. So why did they do that? I believe that there was not enough flour. I'm going off of great-great-grandmother King's cup, and I don't know how big her cup was. I don't know if she filled the cup and pressed it down. I don't know if she just scooped a big round, hill of flour. I don't know. Either way, I think it needed more flour. So we're going to go with 620 grams of flour. Another explanation for this disaster of a cookie batch is I didn't add the eggs one at a time. I threw it all in, and that can result in what we saw there. Okay, round 2. Let's see how this turns out. I cut the dough balls in half to make smaller cookies. Let's check it out here. I'll break it in half. I'll get an inside look at it. Okay. Nice kind of cakey looking cookie. A lot of air pockets. Alright, you can see the brown sugar shimmering on top. A little crunch on the outside. Soft. Not quite cakey, but like in between a cake and a cookie. So a very nice texture. You can taste the buttermilk. There's a little bit of maybe baking soda flavor to it, but not so much that it's metallic. Overall, a delicious cookie. Okay, now, great-grandmother Lucille. I have memories of her telling me a story at the front of the porch. Her dad was the first person in town to have a car, and she said that when they drove into the town, everyone stopped and watched them, and it must have been an impactful moment for her as she didn't talk too much, as she was 94 at the time. But I do have a nice fond memory of her telling me this story. Here is basically the same recipe as King's. The difference is we have half shortening and half lard. The ratios are a little different. Interestingly enough, this recipe states rounded on the baking powder. These instructions are a bit more detailed. So let's look at what it says on the recipe. Leave butter and lard out to soften, then cream the shortening. Gradually add brown sugar and cream well. Add 3 well-beaten eggs and mix well. I'll add gradually to avoid the you know what. You can see we add the buttermilk separate from the soda. Sift 6 cups of flour. I'm not going to sift, we don't need to. 2 cups at a time with salt, baking powder, and soda mixed. Try to figure that one out. Take about 1/4 of the dough at a time and add to a heavily floured pastry cloth and mix until easily rolled out. Bake in an oven at 350 degrees, and it says good. For experiments and comparison's sake, I'm going to first try dropped cookies, scoop them and just drop them on, and then I'm going to roll it out and cut some out. Like I assume this recipe wants you to do because it says to roll them out. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to cream together 105 grams of lard and 105 grams of shortening, then 420 grams of brown sugar. Slowly add 3 eggs and 10 grams of vanilla, then 170 grams of buttermilk. You can see the curdling taking place here. Mix in the combined 930 grams of flour, 5 grams of salt, 10 grams of baking powder, and 10 grams of baking soda, and drop and bake at 350 degrees for an unspecified amount of time. Let's try 8 minutes. Also, we will roll and cut. I did the same temperature, 350 degrees, a little quicker because they were smaller at 7 minutes. And voila. Here's the finished products. Great-great-grandma King's sugar cookie. Oh, good. Great-grandma Lucille's sugar cookie. And great-grandma Lucille's sugar cookie, but cut. Looks like a little wafer. I like this one the best. It has all lard. I like the texture a little bit more. So I'm gonna say, great-great-grandma King, you win the sugar cookie bake-off. But we still have to try the second recipe, which actually states original and 100% shortening. I'm also going to try my own variation on it. I'm going to add something that starts with B and rhymes with udder, and see if we can tweak this recipe a little bit, make it tastier. Maybe add some spices. And it's snowing outside, winter's coming, and we'll see how that goes out. But anyways, thank you very much for watching the video. Please, and